Evening everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past and present. I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. Welcome to our COACT information session at Hampstead. This is delivered as part of the Central Adelaide Local Health Network targeted recruitment campaign for nurses. Today's session is designed to give you a genuine insight into what makes the care of the older person and community transition, or COACT, service such as a unique and rewarding place to work. At Hampstead, COACT offers something a little different from traditional acute settings, a more considered pace of care, strong multidisciplinary collaboration, and the opportunity to support patients through a meaningful stage of their care journey. You'll hear firsthand how this model supports medically stable patients as they transition from hospital care into their next destination, whether that's home with community-based supports or residential care, and how the nurses and the broader team play a pivotal role in achieving these outcomes. I'm pleased to introduce our panel for today. I'm Kylie Han, the Nursing Director for COACT in Hampstead within the Acute and Urgent Care Program, and I'll be hosting today's session. With me, I have Tom Nobes, our Senior Occupational Therapist, Natalie Salter, our Nurse Unit Manager for COACT, and Zara Saberi, our Lifestyle Coordinator. Together, we bring a wealth of experience across nursing, allied health and lifestyle care, and we will share our perspectives on working within this collaborative, person-centred model. Over the next hour, we'll cover an overview of the COACT service and its role within the patient journey, a panel discussion exploring what makes this environment different, including patient relationships, multidisciplinary teamwork, and career opportunities. And finally, we'll then open up to you with your questions during a Q&A session. To get us started, Nat, can you tell us what makes working at Hampstead different from acute hospital wards?
It's just a different vibe here. So we have a lot more time. We get to actually really get to know the patients that we look after. So it's a bit different to acute, where sometimes we're patient-centred, they become the illness that we're looking after, whereas here it's definitely we get to know the people, and the team itself here is great too, right? So everyone knows everyone says hi, everyone's just kind. They generally want to know how you are, which is a really nice place to work.
Sarah, do you have anything from a lifestyle coordinator perspective?
Yeah, well, the role of a lifestyle team is something very much new and introduced with the care of the model of care with the COACT program. So it's something that acute has never experienced, and we are able to work, as you mentioned, with the multidisciplinary team as a small family. That's how it feels to me, working closely together as a small family. We all know each other. And activity side of it, it's what I believe bring the light into the care of every day of the consumers. Their laughter, their enjoyment, what we see, it's a person, no more their problem, their health issues or their medical conditions. So that's what I really like to mention about how is that different from the COACT with the acute setting.
Yeah. It's always wonderful walking through the corridors and seeing and listening to the patients, enjoying the activities and participating. So it's always
and
very
it's not
rewarding.
only with the consumers. Like every day I see, nurses, doctors, OTs, physios, they all go past by and they join, even for a minute. It changed their days, and that's what they, keep describing to me.
Yeah. And Tom, from a allied health perspective, obviously our model does look a little bit different from the acute setting, where the acute setting is more focused on recovery, and here is more sort of maintenance for their independence. So have you got any further thoughts?
Yeah, so I suppose here, because they are medically stable and they're kind of waiting to transition to the next phase of care, whether that's home or going to residential care, you get a little bit more time to spend with the consumer. You get to kind of understand them more as a person, their habits, their routines, kind of get to build a bit more of rapport with them and kind of work with them to kind of achieve their goals. So whilst it is maintenance care, you get to kind of optimise their level of function and actually work towards achieving meaningful goals that you probably might not be able to do in the acute setting. It is about trying to, recover and get them out of the acute hospital setting here, whilst it's about engaging in meaningful activities and kind of simulating what they would do at home. What we have at Hampstead as well is that we have a lot more open spaces, and that which can facilitates more group group tasks with different consumers. So instead of doing individual based care, there's a lot more group therapy activities, a lot more doing stuff with more consumers, which is good.
Excellent, thank you. Leads into the next point that I was going to make. So one of the key messages is more time to care. Can you tell us a little bit about what does that look like in practice?
Well, I think if we just, from what Tom was saying about home, we do have that real homely feel. Like even where we're sitting at the moment is one of our patient areas. So the lounges we are sitting on are patient lounges, and we've got plants and all sorts of things around. So it's, whilst we're still a hospital, it's not as clinical as some of the bigger sites, which is really nice and good for our patients. They kind of, get a bit homely feel.
Totally agree. Like the access to the environment and green area around it. The therapy doesn't have to anymore happen inside a room in isolation. It could be happening at the cafe, walking to the garden, just sitting outside, having a fresh air, still doing your job, but in a more friendly and relaxed environment. And that's how, leading to it's how you're spending more time with them. You don't have an agenda per day that, you have, of course, you will have your priorities that you need to meet and, do your assessment, but then you also have the time to spend more time with them. And, as more you see them, the more you understand them, and the more you spend time to be able to be more flexible with your assessment, with your strategies you're going to use, and help them improve faster.
Yeah, I agree. I think the focus here is about getting to know the individual, and then what do our services and the people that we've got in place here, how can we help them meet sort of their care needs as well as some of their interests and goals. I agree. How do nurses, allied health and medical staff collaborate to support patient outcomes? Tom, did you want to start us off?
Yeah, so it's like usual, we have our normal morning huddles. We also have case conferences once a week where we talk in depth about discharge planning, patients, where they're at currently. But from an allied health perspective, we do have kind of primarily like a clinician, physio, OT, social worker based on the ward. So that kind of allows us to build rapport and get to know the regular nursing staff, the regular patients, get to understand and know one another a lot better. So we kind of have that like quite close working relationship. Whilst you do have your MDT meetings, there's a lot of like informal conversations on the ward. Because we get to know each other, it's, you get to say hi, everyone knows who each other is. So it's quite close-knit working relationship that you have. So it's not just reaching out to the doctor, like the doctor by their first name, the nurse, the team leader, everyone. So I think that really helps build the relationships and helps build us to work quite collaboratively. So it's good.
And I think with COACT, like it was really embedded from the start that we all work together. Often, the different disciplines can be quite siloed, but we genuinely come together as a team to make sure we're getting those really good outcomes for our patients. And that's from lifestyle to OT to nursing to, everyone involved, including kitchen and all that sort of stuff, right? We really get together.
I mean, I've been here for a year now, but if I want to compare my experience the last 4 years being working at the acute, I would have just known a doctor's or OT by their page number. So I would just be paging them, could not put a name to the face. However, it's good to mention that we do have also a Allied Health Hub where we all sit together. It's just a matter of, tipping your head and say, hey, Tom, I need this, could you help me, And that's how we're working together so closely. And I think that's the opportunity missed when you're working in acute.
agreed. Everyone's on the ward or very close to the ward space. So you'll quite frequently find people just popping into the office to talk about a patient. I find that myself too. I quite frequently have the doctors or everyone really coming and talking about the patients. So it's good that everyone feels comfortable in collaborating and sort of raising any issues with anyone. And I think one of the newer models that we've integrated is the safe and connected model within Carlin, and I think that's been a really good mechanism also for bringing people together. So every day, you know, the different areas huddle, so the wards, allied health, and then that all sort of feeds up into a bigger leadership huddle, so everyone's concerns or wins, all of those bits and pieces on a day-to-day basis are fed up through that, which then gets obviously fed up to our higher program level and then exec, and it filters back down, which is an excellent model, and I think it just helps bring all of that together as well in a more formal mechanism. But
I'd just like to mention that it was great that you mentioned that during that huddles is where we also share our wins, like daily celebrating our wins, you know, cheering each other up and, you know, encouraging to be better and do better every day. So it's just something, it's rarely seen, you know, it's something we cheer up every day with, and which is very good. Opportunity to even say, guys, let me know what Nat did today. She should really be, you know, praised for what she did. So that's good of it always.
But I think what you said, just your door is literally rotating. And we've got this culture at Hampstead where you can just go to the nurse lead, you can just go to the consultant, you can just go to your colleagues and ask the questions. There's no silly questions. Everyone's genuinely wants to help people out, which I think is pretty unique, to be honest. And I think we've just, the culture here is incredible.
I think it just helps also like reshape how we like deliver our care. Like I know like with Allied Health, we work closely with lifestyle and the nurses. So like I can think of like a consumer that hadn't been out of bed for 6 months. And then we worked with the nurses and the lifestyle team to get her sitting out of bed, which was a big win. And then, you know, showering, getting dressed and all those things. And it wasn't like that's an OT win, it was a whole team win, it was a whole team effort. The nurses were involved in the assessments with the OTs and the lifestyle were there, so it was a collaborative effort, so it wasn't just us working and then feeding back to the nurses, and it was good. I think that's how we do it.
Showcases several of our consumers came in after very long admission at the queue, isolated, you know, lost identity, lost connection, did not know how to socialise anymore, and that team collaboration, you know, made a massive change in their life. You know. That's what we do actually.
And I think that's also then shouted out at those safe and connected huddles. I quite frequently hear about those times when we've collaborated as a team and those wins when that patient has then been involved in activities and, you know, even the coffee club, for example, I quite frequently hear about, you know, we had someone who for weeks and weeks we've tried, and then through that sort of perseverance and relationship building and trust building that we were able to do here, has then resulted in them being actually engaged and sort of joining the community that we tend to create out here. So that does lead me to my next question. You guys are doing a good job of that. What's the most rewarding part of working in this service?
I can go first because it's every day rewarding for me and my team. I guess hearing the laughter of consumers, you know, them being able to connect, you know, they could have been a part of a social club, you know, before the admissions or in their life, or was one of the passion, and then being able to join the activities and maybe even little being able to still do their hobbies at the hospital setting, you know, that's what brings a lot of joy, and it's very rewarding for me to see. I love that we had this bottom maker, batch baker the other day, and one of the consumer just saw me bringing the 2 activity the other day. He rushed towards because he used to be a jewellery maker, you know, and just a little machine made a big difference on the day. And it was, for me, it was so rewarding to watch, to see actually the machine was broken and he fixed it. I really love that. It's just like, it was so rewarding. I couldn't stop talking about it to everyone. Yeah. So I guess my part of the job is very rewarding, and whoever wants to help me with it, more than welcome to join.
But I think it still comes down to time, and I know we've spoken a lot about it during this conversation, but we really do have time to get to know the people that we're caring for, which means we can do those things that we can't do in acute to, you know, make someone's day, and we've got time to sit and have conversations. So it's nice to actually go home at the end of the day, and I go home every day thinking I've made a difference, whether it's big or small. It's so easy working here to be able to just get a little bit of joy, I think, from the work that we do.
We didn't even let the small, you know, changes go easily. So we notice those and we celebrate those. So
I think you get a lot more of those small wins here, though, with the patients, where you just it's something so simple, like, you know, having a shower or getting them dressed, or engaging in coffee club, or you know, going out with their family. It kind of feels like a small win, but like it's quite a big win. It's, you know, building up over time. You know, if they've been here for quite some time, working collaboratively with them, building that trust, and then being able to do that with them. It's really rewarding getting to like understand the consumer as a person and what their goals and wishes are, and then actually being able to work as a team, having them central, kind of like setting what they want to do, and actually being able to achieve those goals with them. It's good.
And we work, like, everyone's so adaptable, like the whole team, and we're like, oh, let's try this, and then we're like, oh, well, that doesn't really work, let's see what else we can bring in. And like Lifestyle are amazing with that, right? Like, we've got so many options for the people that we care for, that we can really tailor them to their preferences and, you know, their life before here. Like, it's cool.
I think from my perspective, the most rewarding part has been watching the service and the team grow since coming into the role. We've obviously put a lot of work and effort into building up the service. It is still quite new, really, in the grand scheme of things. So watching the team come together and look for ways to improve and obviously have better outcomes for patients, but then also for our staff in particular. You know, having good job satisfaction. We've got a great team culture out here, and you can see that just by walking down the corridor. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone says hello. And then it's, you know, now we're starting to obviously focus on how can we start building our teams and the career growth opportunities within our teams, and starting to really focus on that succession planning, as well as obviously all the day-to-day little wins and rewarding parts of the job. I think it's a really good space to bring both of those together, because I find in acute, because of the pace and the speed that everything just works at, you're so busy just doing your day-to-day part that sometimes you miss the opportunities to go, oh, that person is actually doing a really good job, and they're showing really good leadership qualities or really good clinical skills, and that we actually have the time and I think the right staffing models to support those people to then take the next steps, or to support them to undertake further training or bits and pieces. So I think that's a really rewarding part for myself as a leader in the group. To see that we're starting to sort of move towards that trajectory, not just standing up the service, which is good.
Right. And the variety, right? Like, in terms of when you're talking about expanding our skills and stuff, for such a small site for nursing, there's such a variety of positions that we can kind of slip into and stuff, if that's where, you know, we do have the skills and, you know, whatever. We're really lucky in that sense. And people, like you said, people get to know people and they're like, oh, yeah, you'd be really good in this position, or, you know, like, let's see what we can do to get you there.
It's a normal conversation. We're always here, you know, as you mentioned, at the acute, because it's very fast speed. You will be lucky to get your mandatory training done, where the normal conversation is, I've just mentioned, you know, I've just identified this area, and there is, you know, look it through, and there find this, you know, professional development training, and then start doing it, as well as we, you know, our monthly calendar beside the mandatory trainings. We've got a monthly calendar that we attend. You know, could be 2 to 3 trainings per week that we attend. So that's something that also, you know, worth mentioning, because there's a lot of professional development opportunity as well for all of us. That's very, you know, inclusive of, it could be allied health nursing. Everybody get a chance. every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll skip down a few questions then, seeing as we've
You are.
we've headed in that direction. So what opportunities are there for skill development and career progression?
Yeah.
Well, I think sort of, and again, I don't want to sound cringy, but time, right? Like, I know that we've got a really good uptake in our nursing education and in services. We've got a really good variety. Like, we have a lot of different people come in and sort of talk, and that leads to that multi-D stuff, right? Like, it's not just nursing, it's nursing and allied health and lifestyle. And from a nursing perspective, I guess we're really good at supporting people for further education. Like, it's not a can you do it, it's how do we help you get there, which again is incredible, because like you said, in acute it just feels like you're just going along that constant, and it's really hard to stop and think about, oh, actually, like, if I want to do this course, how do I get there? And the leadership team here are amazing in supporting that, I think.
And I think the thing that I've noticed here is when we're talking about education, yes, it's a nurse educator, but it is a very collaborative, multidisciplinary focused education. And I think the other aspect of what we do here is actually thinking a little bit differently about what education we provide. It's not just the normal churn of your mandatory training or the bits and pieces that you need to tick off for your year. It's actually going, what is the service doing at the moment? What is the needs of the staff and the patients? And then how do we tailor something for that? So a new initiative that we've introduced in our acute and urgent care program that we sit under is a virtual reality version of some dementia training. So that was something that we recognised out here that was missing. And so the educator within our program was able to get a grant and sort of put that new education piece in practice, because we realised that was a gap. So I think that's something that is really exciting out here, that we kind of are able to really get down into the nitty gritty of what is it that our staff and our patients need, and then what can we tailor to meet those needs.
That's true.
And we listen, right? Like, all of this comes from the staff that are working on the floor and looking after the patients. All of those initiatives come from the floor. So, you know, the team really listens to what's needed.
Yeah, and I think now, you know, we're starting to build on the initial model that was put in place. Obviously, we've been open for, what are we, almost coming up a year and a half?
Yeah, I would think so. Yep.
So now we're starting to build on, okay, what models or what staffing profile have we got missing, and then let's start to put those in place. And so I think we're starting to come up with a really clear career progression pathway. We've recently put in a novice to expert pathway for our nursing staff. So it's a really clear, easy to follow sort of process of how do I get from here to here. And then across the board from a nursing perspective, there's obviously your ANUM level, there's the NUM, there's nurse educator, there's nurse consultant, there's a nurse manager, there's after hours nursing, there's lots of different avenues that you can go into. There's safety and quality. And then from an allied health perspective, I think there's a pretty clear progression pathway there as well. So it's a really good model that's put in place, and I think because everyone does work so collaboratively together, it is easier for us to support each other through those mechanisms as well.
I think it's also good, like, because with the collaboration you can identify, like, as an MDT, the different areas that you want to, like, receive more education on or work together, and there's like a lot of informal education that goes on where you can actually, like, nurses have the time to come with OTs and physios and social workers and actually understand what we do, and then we get to do the same thing and actually see what the nurses are doing, whilst in acute you don't really get the time and space to do that. So there's a lot of informal education that then kind of triggers what we might be choosing to actually set as our formal education structure, which is quite good.
It's like the at the elbow, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Like, so you'll often find a lot of the leadership team, especially in nursing, will be at the bedside with the patient, with the staff, providing that at the elbow education. Like, when there's not a lot of leaders around here, if any, I don't think. That don't want to not be negative, because everyone is great. No, but like, what I'm trying to say is they're always visible, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've not got people that sort of sit in their office with their door shut.
There's a presence.
It's not who we are. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
We don't.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know if Carly likes it or not.
No, as we said, rotating door.
So, in terms of the physical environment at Hampstead, how do you find that the environment supports patient care and staff wellbeing?
I mean, we could start with the gardens, right? They're incredible, amazing. Would love to get some cuttings. We're very lucky that we've got these beautiful spaces that are well looked after. It's even like a little herb garden outside one of our kiosks, and each area has their own space as well. That's made for the clients, patients, consumers, all of the above that we look after. I think, those green spaces are amazing.
And it's lovely on the days when it's nice weather. You can frequently see staff sitting outside in the gardens.
It's the best.
So it's excellent.
Even the bad weather, they've got enough space to sit outside where you can actually be protected. It's in your big hospitals, there's limited space to actually be outside. You mainly have your tea breaks inside, so there's lots of space to do that, which is really nice.
Less lunchtime behind the desk. Perfect.
Right. Like actually get the
Who could not go to the cafe and see the
Yeah.
volunteers doing an amazing job? Yeah.
And I think it's something that I hear frequently when we've hosted, other like the media and comms team where they've come out to do some patient stories, or other residential facilities that have come out to get to know our service. The overall feedback that we get is beautiful, big rooms, bright spaces, huge windows, really lovely garden spaces. It's all on one floor, which is great.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's something that we hear frequently from acute, from not just patients, but from staff, but the frustration of not being able to support your patient to go outside. That's something that we hear quite frequently.
And I think we've had a lot of upgrades too, so I think they've been really considered with how they've done it. They've still kept the heritage, I think, of Hampstead, but it's been done up in such a beautiful way that's really considered the staff and the consumers that come here.
But designated different areas for lifestyle activities, for just for spiritual care, going to the sanctuary, the cafe, all of those, environments support the well-being of the consumers, and that's, what Hampstead can offer.
Yeah.
Nat,
Oh, I feel a bit pressured with this one. Okay. Yep.
could you tell us what type of nurse would thrive in this environment?
Oh, that's a great question. Can I say any nurse? Because I say that because we get a bit of everything at Hampstead. You get that real grassroots nursing, that real, that basic nursing care where we get to take the time to sit with our patients and chat and do all those sorts of things. But then we also, have those times where we might have a medical emergency and sort of the whole team is involved in that. So, I love it here because it feels like country, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of people around that are willing to help each other, and you learn so much. I've learned so much working at Hampstead. As much as it's not the busy acute and you don't see all the big exciting things, I think there's just so many little bits that I've learned, and I'm a better nurse for working here. I think we get quite siloed sometimes in those busy hospitals. You just know what you know, and you don't know much outside of your ward, whereas here you just do everything, you see everything. It's Does that answer your question?
I think from my perspective, it's someone that wants to, it could be both, right? Someone that wants to progress in their career in a really supportive environment. So maybe those that are ready to take that next step or something different, if they want to step away from the acute side. But I think it's also for some of those people coming into the nursing field, if you are really wanting to sort of consolidate your theory and the skills that you've learned as part of your training, this is a fantastic place to do that, to really sort of consolidate those fundamentals of nursing care in a really collaborative, multidisciplinary focused team environment with the right support mechanisms in place. I think those are, yes, I would agree, any nurse.
Any nurse.
But, those particularly that maybe have a passion for caring for our older consumers. I think they are a forgotten group of people sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you are someone that is passionate about, building those connections with those consumers and getting to know them and watching them flourish in this environment, ready for the next part of their journey, then I think you will find this service a really rewarding place to work.
Yeah, and I think I said earlier, like going home and thinking, oh, I've done something good today. Like if you want to just come and actually make a real difference to how people's journey looks while they're in the hospital sector, like this is a really good place to do that. You really get to go, oh, I'm such a good nurse today. Like I've done so many amazing things, which sounds really corny, but you don't get caught up in the busyness.
That's true.
Yeah, there's not the pressure from, the ED flow and those bits and pieces. It's a bit more of a controlled sort of admission pathway. While still, not discounting that the patients come with a number of comorbidities. It doesn't necessarily take away from the complexity. It just means the pace at which we're delivering that care looks a little bit different. I think it really helps, particularly those new nurses, in able to step out of, uni or TAFE or whatever it is that you've been studying, and then coming in and able to do that in a supportive, sort of faster paced environment. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to most of the questions that we had, and I think the points that everyone would like to make, unless you've got any sort of further comments.
I mean, I've always got something else to say, but I will wait for the questions to come through.
Sure. So we'll now open it up to the audience for a Q&A session, and my team have been pulling together, there's quite a few, it appears. So for those that haven't, if you could just pop your questions into the chat, the team are monitoring that and we'll pass them on, and we'll try to get through as many as we can this afternoon, or this evening, sorry. For those that we don't, we will pull together a bit of a Q&A, frequently asked question, document, and then we will pop that up on the website. So the first question is, I'm an RN but haven't worked in a while. Are there opportunities as an RN on a casual basis? So yes, there definitely are within our organisation. Our casual pool is run by our Network Operations Centre. So they manage that across Carlin. So they send people to our 3 major sites, which is Royal Adelaide Hospital, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and Hampstead. But you can definitely put forward a preference for working out here if you want to, but there is definitely the option there. They usually have a rolling advert, but if you like, we can also pop that in our frequently asked questions. We can pop a link up if they've got an active advert. So second question is, what roles are on offer at COACT? So at the moment for nursing, there's a range of roles. So we're looking for an associate nurse unit manager, RNs, ENs and AINs. From an allied health perspective, I believe it was a sort of across the board that we were looking for. So OT, physio, social work, lifestyle, dietitian, speech, and so then from an admin point of view, we were looking for ward clerks and placement officers, so pretty much across the board, and then I believe they will also be looking for a consultant. What are the biggest challenges for nurses at COACT? Is it similar to mental health wards in other hospitals? Do you want to start us off?
Oh, I don't think so. So it depends on the area you work in at Hampstead. We've obviously got some specialised memory support units, which are more focused on change behaviours with people living with dementia, but then you've also got the general wards as well. So, and that's more, I guess, basic nursing care, kind of getting people ready to transition to their next place, whether it be aged care facility or home. In terms of challenges, I don't know. I'm a bit positive about the nursing here. I guess
it depends on how you translate challenge. Are you
up for a
challenge? Because the challenges here can help you improve, developing the skills. Allows you. But going back to having the time, allows you to see a deeper, underlying reasons of why this is happening. Being able to practice different strategies, you know, showcasing, you know, I have done this and overcome this challenge. So depend on how you translate the challenge, you know, and what challenge means to you. Are you up for a challenge, or, you know, challenges makes you scared? But even the challenges makes you scared, that we're going back to MDT and how we're closely working together. You don't have to face the challenges by yourself. You got the whole team behind you and with you to support you overcome that challenge, you know. And that's how we working.
And I think that's why I find it difficult to sort of articulate a challenge, because we're actually quite a really resilient team. And as I said before, really adaptable. So it's not really a challenge, it's just a little blip that we're like, okay, so what can we do differently? How can we make this work? And, you know, everyone gets together and talks about it. So sorry if I didn't answer your question, but I think we just treat challenges differently.
One of our professional development was about the phrases we use at work and how we, you know, try to see things differently, phrase them differently. So I guess we kind of see things differently as well. You know.
In terms, just to sort of build on those comments, in terms of the wards that we've got here in COACT in particular, so we have a memory support unit, and then we also have general COACT, but on site as well we also have a specialist geriatric unit and a geriatric evaluation management unit, so a GEMU, which is sort of like a slow streamed rehab unit for patients over 65. So I would say it's not like a mental health ward. It's more probably similar to maybe a gen med ward or even a geriatric ward in the acute setting, but obviously step down given that they are sort of maintenance care. So they've finished their acute care episode and are then sort of looking for that next part. So while our nurses usually have a home base, they definitely do sort of work across the other areas. So yeah, lots of opportunity for growth in caring for older patients. Oh, there we go. How many beds in COACT and how long has the service been going? So currently we have 70 beds. So there are 50 general and 20 MSU beds. And the service has been a bit of a staged approach. So initially it was in October 2024. So one of our care awaiting placement wards was transitioned across into what is now COACT, and another ward was stood up, and then there was some refurbishment across the site and a few sort of ward moves, and then our memory support unit opened up in May 2025. Oh, so do you have a dementia unit at COACT? So it's not necessarily a dementia unit, but it's a memory support unit where we do have sort of lower tier dementia patients. Nat, do you want to talk a little bit more about them?
Yeah, I think, so we've got an MSU which is 20 beds, and so yeah, it is for people living with dementia with those, like you've said, those lower tier behaviours. But what we do differently, I guess, is we work really closely with Lifestyle and Allied Health, and the people that we have on those wards at the moment genuinely care about the work that they do and genuinely care about, you know, those people that are living with dementia and their families, right? Like, we care a lot about everyone when it's not just that person in the bed. And I think it's quite unique, I guess, the way we work together with Lifestyle. Like, there's always, every time I walk onto the ward, there's always something happening. You walk into the tea room and there's always a bingo game or someone's colouring, or, you know, I think it's a really nice place to work, and the nurses just genuinely enjoy coming to work, I think, and enjoy that interaction, and you often hear, you know, people giggling and all sorts of things when you just... Yeah, I've obviously got a passion for people living with dementia. So.
And I think even the wellbeing sessions that we've been running,
of course,
the wellbeing. So we have every Wednesday a wellbeing activity on our wards, and it's mostly aimed at staff. But I've definitely seen a number of our patients
they always
joining in. So yeah, it's great to see.
It's a hoot. They always get involved on those wards, and they probably generally have better answers than us most times when we're answering the questions.
We do quiz with them every day.
Oh, that's why they're cheating.
Next question is, are patient rooms single, double and quad? So we have a mix of all of the above. So we've got a few single rooms, a couple of double rooms and a few bays in each of our areas out here. So how do you work with patients to transition to aged care? Anyone want to take that
Is
one?
that going to come back at me? You looked at me again. I think it's been really good. So I've been within COACT since we opened, and watching the teams collaborate with those aged care facilities and have those I've been in the placement office when they've been having those phone calls with the facilities, and we really support that journey. And again, it comes back down to adaptability, right? We take feedback and stuff from aged care facilities about how we can communicate better and making sure we're getting these people to the right place.
It comes back to spending more time with them. It gives us a clear understanding of them as a person, because that's what the nursing homes are interested to know. Medical, when they come in from the acute, they just come in with a discharge summary, which is all a summary of their medical, history. But what we are including as a lifestyle team, we also include, what they like to do every day, what do they, will be attending to. This is their routine, and that's how it's actually then residential aged care. They see them more as a person, being able to match them more with what the facility can offer them as well. You mentioned,
you're right. That's a really good point. So even if you sit on Sunrise, right, and look at our documentation, we communicate about that individual and what their needs are, and the why.
Despite they two assistant person, they will see it that every day they're going out and doing activities. So that shows that that's not just a heavy nursing ADLs every day. It's just that they're actually wanting to be involved and being out and about.
I think the difference here to acute, so similarities are obviously discharge planning starts on admission, and we all do our usual assessments, and it's all those bits and pieces. But the different part here is the placement teams, they attend our weekly board-based MDT huddles. So they're talking to the clinicians directly about these are some of the feedback that we've received from the residential facilities, and how can we sort of optimise the patient's treatment plan or care plan to make any sort of positive changes that we need to, but also the links that we're now starting to create with the external sort of providers, and Disability Support Australia, all of those bits and pieces. Our GOS service, so our geriatric outreach service, we're starting to form really good relationships with those teams, and we're very, very good at bridging the gap between acute and the facilities, and how can we actually make that a very smooth transition for that patient. It's sort of a really good journey experience.
And the placement officers are part of our team, right? Like, I think it's really like you said, they come to the meetings, but they're actually part of that ward team. So we, again, all work together, and we genuinely do. Like,
I think it's that whole thing of looking at what does the patient need, but what do the facilities need, and kind of balancing that up to
definitely.
Make them thrive. The placement officers are always asking us, what is the best parts about these patients? What are they engaging? What are they doing for you? With you guys, and it's kind of about drawing on those instead of focusing on the negatives. Just looking at what are the positive things that patient can bring to that facility, and why they'd be a good fit. And I think we're really good at figuring out why they would be a good fit for a certain facilities.
We're a really positive bunch, I think, sometimes.
Next question is, how do you support terminally ill conditions and those that are unable to find a care home?
Well, I think we're very lucky. Our medical team have obviously got a background in palliative care as well, which means we've got people we can lean on quite closely. We obviously work with the palliative care teams if we need to, and we have everything we need on site to be able to support people through their end of life journey. And I think, was the part of the question the people we can't get a placement for?
Yes.
I think there's no can't. Our whole job is to find these people their forever home, right? So even if they do look like they've had a really long length of stay, that doesn't mean we're not still trying and adapting and going, okay, what can we tweak? What do we need to do to make sure we can get this consumer where they need to be, because hospital isn't the place where people want to be.
I think as well with like the end of life, like terminal kind of care, it's about having those conversations of with the patient and with the family, where do they want that care to be provided?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do they want to be in hospital? Do they want to be in hospice? Or do we look at getting them home, and how do we wrap around getting them home? I think we have the time and the space to have those sensitive conversations and help deliver their final wishes, which is
right,
really
because
nice.
we know them, which is what we've been saying. Like these people that are going through the end of life process, generally we've known them. We know who they are. We know their family. We know, you know, their wives, their husbands, their children. We know everyone. So we can have those sensitive conversations. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Next question is, what opportunities are there for students?
Nursing students?
All students.
Well, I mean, we, like anywhere, we take nursing students on our wards, but I think it's a really good opportunity to, like we've said, it's sort of that basic care, right? And I think especially if we've got people coming for placement on our memory support units, it's such a good experience because, you know, everywhere you go, you're going to care for someone living with dementia. And having that skill set will be beneficial, I guess, anywhere you work, right? But again, if we go talk about time, which I know we've spoken about a lot, but we do have that time from a nursing perspective to support the students, so they actually really get the opportunity to learn to, you know,
not only have the opportunity to observe, have the opportunity to have a hand-on experience.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, working closely, you know, being involved in more, and as well as, you know, we're always hearing, because you never know what they can contribute. You know, they could have a very great idea and that can shape or change things around here, which we very welcome as well.
Yeah, like they really get an opportunity, I think, to
have a say.
And we'll provide the care, right? I think, I mean, it's been a little bit since I was a student, but I remember, sorry, I've just played with my mic, sorry everyone. Like I remember being a student on a busy ward and thinking, I have no idea what's happening right now because everyone's just running around. Whereas I think the students that come here are really play a massive part in that patient care journey, right? And we are definitely there as nurses to support them. They're not there to support us, if that,
Yeah. And I think as a new service, obviously the role of sort of those student facilitators, we're still evolving in that space, but that is definitely something that we're looking at longer term. You know, can we have a dedicated student facilitator type role here to one, obviously make that transition into the setting a little bit easier, but then there's a really clear support mechanism in place for them. And then it kind of leads into a couple of other questions. So someone said that they graduate as an RN at the end of the year, and can they apply for an RN position? So at the moment, not an RN position. However, there is assistant in nursing positions that we have available for nursing students. And then what we're also going to do is collect sort of those people that want to express an interest in applying for a role later, and we will keep that information, and then we'll regularly send out job adverts that come up. So as soon as you've finished your studies, if you're not wanting to go into an AIN position, once you've finished your studies and are registered, then we will sort of keep those ads coming out, and so then hopefully you'll be able to apply when you're ready. Do you accept RNs from Victoria? We accept nurses from everywhere. So if you're interested in the service, then yes, pop in your application or give one of us a call and we can talk to you a little bit more about what that would look like. So we do offer relocation. What's the word I'm looking for?
I have no idea.
Funding. So if you're coming from interstate or even internationally, we do offer some reimbursement in terms of relocation funding. So, and I believe all of that information is in the job adverts. There is a link there. If you can't find it, please reach out to the contact emails and we can send that to you.
And I just, on that, just in terms of recruiting and stuff, we are offering like Teams interviews and things like that. So for people that can't physically get over here, there is an opportunity that, you know, you can still attend an interview and, you know, get an opportunity to come and work with us.
Another question was how many roles are on offer and are they full-time or part-time? So there's multiple roles, obviously within COACT, but like I said, there are a couple of other wards out here as well. And we offer both full-time and part-time positions depending on obviously your preferences. So there's a couple of questions that are kind of along the same line, so I'll try to wrap them up into one. So what type of patient do we care for and where are they in their journey and what is the typical length of stay for these patients?
Did you go oof then?
That's a
Well, I'm looking
tricky
at you.
question.
You can answer it. Come on.
Oh. Well, I suppose the patients that we're caring for are medically stable.
Yep.
And in their journey, they no longer need the acute admission, so they're with us. So they've kind of transitioned out of the acute phase, and then they're with us to kind of figure out their next steps. So whether that's returning home with support, home, or into transitioning into respite and residential aged care. So that's kind of the patient group that we've got. So anyone really over the age of 65 or 50 for our Indigenous Australians. And so it's just working with quite a large cohort of people with different presenting clinical conditions and trying to work out what they need and where's the best place for them, where's the best place for them to have care. Is it the best place for them to go home, or is it, you know, they've come into hospital multiple times and they actually need to transition into care. So it's about working with the consumer and trying to figure out, you know, where's the best place for them to go. So it's transitional, really.
And I think the length of stay, I mean, you've
Varies.
answered that very well. Well done, Tom. Not to handball that to you, but I think the length of stay varies, right? We do have some that kind of come in and leave us quite quickly, and then we have some that are here for a bit longer. So there is a bit of variety, but it's definitely not the turnover you get in acute. Like you're not discharging a patient and then admitting 3 more in that same shift. It's definitely a lot slower paced.
I think like the longer length of stays tend to be people that are waiting for aged care, and it's quite a variety of reasons. And if they are quite a long length of stay, it gives us the opportunity to kind of reflect on, you know, what is our discharge plan still appropriate, and what are we doing to support this consumer to get into aged care, and, you know, looking at different ways that we can try and help them get over the line. So it's quite a positive experience.
I guess in adding to that, Tom, with my experience with placement team working as an officer, it wasn't always about a barrier with the patient. It was that the residential aged care, there was no vacancy available. You know, we see it quite common in different suburbs all around Adelaide. You know, well, obviously we listen to the consumers and their families, and we were willing to find a residential care facility for them in their, you know, first and second preferable locations. You know, and unfortunately, that facility do not have the capacity, you know, to take more. And always the length of stay is not about, you know, our consumers are not be able to admit it to a residential. It's just there is no bed vacancies available as capacity. Well. And we're seeing in the different seasons a lot happening as well. So just understanding the blockage could be outside our control at times.
But that doesn't mean we don't try though, right?
No,
like,
we do our best.
Those people that are here for a longer period than we would expect, it's often because they need specialised care in the community, and those beds don't come up often, right? So it's about how we then adapt what we're doing and how we're communicating with the facilities, and if we need to pivot in any direction and rethink what we're doing.
From them and then just work on that feedback.
There is definitely a difference in the length of stay between those patients looking for a memory support type bed versus the general bed. But to your point before, you know, we don't really take no for an answer. It's more just about, well, what can we do differently? What can we reframe differently? Building those relationships with the different facilities, and so that they have, you know, pretty solid trust in the patient information that we're providing to them is true, and so then hopefully that, you know, provides a smooth transition. Is this the only facility like this in South Australia? So I think it's a bit of yes and a bit of no. So we do have sort of other carer waiting placement type models, but they are in a residential care facility. So we're the only model of this type based in a hospital setting, with sort of the nursing ratios and under, you know, the nursing EA rather than sort of the aged care setting. So yes, if you look at it from that perspective, and we are fast becoming what is affectionately known as a bit of a geriatric hub out here at Hampstead. And so yes, I think we are sort of the only real space that is mainly focused on caring for older patients.
So the opportunity having the multi-D compared to this placement, if they were at the residential aged care, they would not have the opportunity of having a multi-D input daily.
Yeah, I think that's very different. All of the lifestyle, plus the nursing, plus the allied health perspective. It does look very different here compared to other similar models.
And we're a true hybrid model, I think, right? Like we are a hospital, but we do a lot of things that they would do in an aged care facility. So that is quite unique, I think, in terms of the rest of the state.
Which support the transitional journey for, you know, a lot of them have never been to a residential aged care, and there's a fear when you talk with them, but, you know, being a part of the, you know, activities every day and, you know, receiving the care, it's not that too scary, you know. Sometimes I heard that a consumer says, I'm not going anywhere, I'm having, you know, so much fun here.
They genuinely love us sometimes,
And then last quick question. Would you like to share a win for today from yourselves?
A win for today.
Or maybe yesterday?
We shouldn't have
yesterday, across the whole Hampstead site, we celebrate the Reconciliation Week. We had a big event, which they had a lot of consumers attending, and, you know, as well as our First Nation consumers. So we had the opportunity to, you know, connect and build up some relationship. It was beautiful. We had, you know, videos play in the background, Aboriginal music playing in the background, food, you know, time to spend, you know. The event had the doors open to the beautiful garden, so all our consumers, you know, had the chance to sit around each other, staff going around and having a normal chat with the consumers. So I guess that was the big win from yesterday.
It was beautiful to see. It was so many people attending that everyone kind of spilled out into the corridor. And, my office is not far down the corridor, and to hear all of the laughter and the chatter and everyone connecting, patients and staff, and I think that's a really good thing that we do out here as well, is it's not just a staff afternoon tea, or it's not just a patient activity, it's everyone. Yeah.
And I think, so if I talk about my little win, I know we paused for a bit too long, but like even today I walked past one of the nurses' stations and there was a group of nurses, including the nurse unit manager and the ANUMs, all having a huddle, but all giggling and laughing and happy. And so it wasn't just about, you know, all the things that we should and shouldn't be doing and all of that, which generally, you know, is in a huddle. They were like just laughing together and just genuinely happy to be in that conversation, which I think is...
There's a lot of food around here as well, which is a scary.
Oh, there's always,
there's always food.
There's always snacks at Hampstead.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. And we hope today gives you a clear picture of not just what we do, but why it matters and what makes it such a rewarding place to work. I encourage you all to apply through iWork for SA or SEEK for the jobs that you're interested in, and links to the jobs and the recording of this webinar will be provided tomorrow morning. So thank you to the panel for coming along, and thank you for joining us, and have a great night. Thanks.